Last month, I briefly mentioned philosopher Philip Goff's conversion to Christianity. Actually, I'm not sure that's an accurate representation. He really converted to semi-Christianity or Christianity light, as you'll see. In this video, we'll look at his essay proclaiming his conversion, and in the next two, we'll look at his conversation with Cameron from the Capturing Christianity channel. If you appreciate this work and can afford to, please drop me a super like. This was some grueling stuff to get through. In terms of the case for atheism, I remain as convinced as ever that the suffering we find in the universe is powerful evidence against the existence of a loving and all-powerful God. But I've also come to think there are powerful considerations in support of something godish. One is the fine-tuning of physics for life. The surprising discovery of recent decades that certain numbers in physics are, against incredible odds, just right for the emergence of life. Against incredible odds? How do we know what the odds are? We have no other instances of universes to compare ours against, nor do we even know that those certain numbers could have been anything but what they are. Certainly the traditional, all-powerful tribal war god of Abraham didn't need those numbers to be exactly as they are, and an all-powerful God could have created and maintained life in any situation, right? As for intelligent life, we know that the physical constants of our universe are not necessary for that because God is not within our universe. And according to Christians, He's an intelligent being, though that's clearly up for debate. Angels and demons also exist in this supernatural realm, inhabited by God, along with Satan, him or herself. Although he or she made a bet with an all-knowing super being, so his or her intelligence is also suspect. The second is psychophysical harmony, the improbable alignment between consciousness and behavior that is presumed in any evolutionary story of the character of our conscious experience. All of this was laid out in my recent book, Why? The Purpose of the Universe. So there's the grift. Buy my book and all will be explained. Okay, let's not go there just quite yet. That would be unfair of me. Let's hear him out. I now think the evidence points towards a hypothesis that John Stuart Mill took seriously, a good God of limited abilities. This hypothesis is able to account both for the imperfections of our universe in terms of God's limited abilities and for the things about our universe that are improbably good, such as fine-tuning and psychophysical harmony. What exactly is improbably good about the fine-tuning of the universe and so-called psychophysical harmony? Had a fine-tuner finally tuned the universe to be a place of minimal suffering for sentient beings, a universe brimming with sentient life, all living free from want, predation, gratuitous suffering, etc., then we'd have some genuine improbable goodness. But this universe is filled with
This life is filled with an immeasurable amount of injustice and suffering.
Also, God, knowing his limitations and that he could only create the world as it is, filled with
This life is filled with an immeasurable amount of injustice and suffering.
Creating this world regardless clearly puts God outside the realm of anything we could possibly call good, especially since none of us ever consented to be thrown into this mess. And we're living in the good times. Animals and other human-esque species have been enduring this shit for 800 million years. Goff's God is clearly still a sadist. God would have liked to make intelligent life in an instant or by breathing into the dust, as we see depicted in Genesis. But the only way God was able to create life was by bringing into existence a universe with the right physics that would eventually evolve intelligent life. God made the best universe they could. So Goff's God could literally create absolutely everything from absolutely nothing. But the only way he could get intelligent life, despite it already existing amongst himself, the angels, the demons, etc., was to use the brutal physics of our universe along with the even more ferocious process of natural selection? Really? Are we supposed to feel sorry for God and his impotence? Aw, poor God. He did the best he could, really. Let's cut him a little slack for all the evil and suffering and brutality. Okay? He just wanted to create. If that involves our pain and suffering, well, that's just the price we have to pay for his impotence, right? Now, Goff's essay doesn't mention whether he's also trashed God's omniscience along with his omnipotence. But if not, we're still left with a God who, knowing with absolute certainty that there would be holocausts and torturers and child rapists, aka priests, etc., he just decided to create anyway. And apparently he wasn't even powerful enough to create a world without cancer or tornadoes or Celine. The second change was discovering the great diversity of forms of Christianity. Wide reading and conversations with various Christian thinkers have given me a deeper sense of the mystical traditions of Christianity, as well as its radical roots. I haven't changed my mind on the form of Christianity I rejected in my youth. However, I now think there are forms of Christianity that fit quite well with the limited God I now believe in. Well, what God wouldn't fit with your project of fine-tuning your very own personal God to fit with your preferences, divorced entirely from the traditions and dogmas of the church and without regard to the other problems I'm raising here in this video? Especially when you've whittled God down by a third to make him fit. By the way, this is exactly how I decide what to believe as well. I look for a wide diversity of opinion on matters which should otherwise be clear or even have been clear for millennia to some, but about which no one really knows a thing. And then I make up my own version of whatever it is to accommodate the way I'd like things to be. It's quite refreshing. The final change was coming to see the value of a spiritual community. Being spiritual but not religious can be a bit lonely and hard to sustain. Religion involves rituals and practices that bind people together across space and time, marking the seasons and the big moments of life: birth, marriage, coming of age, death, forming a bridge between society and the divine. I feel happier and closer to the divine when I can connect to it in relation to others. Well, I don't know how to argue against this one, nor am I inclined to do so. If you're the kind of person who has difficulty connecting with others outside of a religious context and that makes you feel alone and unhappy, go grab yourself some religion. Sure. And make it your own. That way you don't have to really commune on a deeper level with those people who struggle to believe all that whack job nonsense, like an all-powerful God who creates a world filled with Prager?
This life is filled with an immeasurable amount of injustice and suffering.
And where better to do that than in a community known for its tolerance of people whose views lay outside the mainstream or are, in Goff's own words, heretical. Good luck with that. Although your timing is perfect. Christianity is sinking so fast they'll welcome anyone into the lifeboats these days. There's more to Goff's essay. I'll put a link in the description below. But a lot of what he says comes up in his interview with Cameron on the Capturing Christianity channel. And so much more. Plus, it's far more conversational, which is nice. We'll look at that interview in our next two videos. Until then, I'm me. Thanks for watching.